is now possible to order by pierce or entry. More specifically, the Order subpaths checkbox. Before an Enroute, you would be only able to do so if you had applied the toolpath to each geometry individually. The checkbox to order subpaths will break up these traditional toolpath groups and will allow you to control every single entry into the material. We've introduced double-sided machining in Enroute. When you create a new plate, you now have a drop-down menu that allows you to choose between a standard or double-sided job. When you pick double-sided, an additional button for the double-sided options will become available. In this menu, you will be able to set the flip direction and choose the type of dowels that you would like to use to position the material when it is flipped over. When the plate is created, you can use the dowel hole tool to add the dowel holes to your design. This can be done straight away or at a later point. When you've chosen the symmetrical dowel type, you will notice that another dowel will be created on the opposite side of the plate. When you activate the quad view option, you will notice that the front view has been replaced by the bottom view. Via the View menu, you can toggle the viewing of objects on all sides. When an object is on the other side rather than on the one that you are viewing, it will be displayed in light gray. When right-clicking objects, you have the option to copy to the other side, move to the other side, or mirror on the other side. Each having its own result of how the contour shows up on the other side, based on the chosen flip direction. You can now create design contours, reliefs, and toolpaths on the top and bottom side and send them from one to the other. We have made it so that when you are applying a kerf compensation toolpath and you choose the corner entry option, that it will automatically default to the sharpest corner for the entry and exit. The entry and exit parameters of toolpaths can now be more easily manipulated simply by click and dragging them to your needs. Users can now go directly into entry-exit editing mode by simply right-clicking on a toolpath. In Enroute, we have re-enabled the ability to trim and extend contours based on a predefined length. This functionality was previously taken out, but based on user feedback, we have decided to re-enable the option. Users are now able to enter any kerf width. It is no longer an issue if you have yet to set up a kerf tool of this width. A newly activated option in Enroute is that the positions of entry and exits, as well as bridges, that have been moved since the generation of the toolpaths will no longer be reset upon scaling, but will rather maintain their relative positions. We've enabled snapping to point while you are in point editing mode. This will make it easier to use the point editing tools like the Linearize tool or the Curve Fit tool. Users now have the option to create XY guidelines at the origin when creating a new plate. We have added thread tools as a new tool type to Enroute. The new tool type has an outer diameter, a maximum thread depth that it is able to cut, a minimum and maximum thread pitch, and a set number of teeth. Along with the new tool type goes a new tool path type, the thread tool path. The thread tool path works in a similar way as the drill center tool path, whereas you can select a number of geometries and apply the tool path to the center of each of those selected geometries. Apart from the threading tool, this tool path type also requires you to select another tool capable of creating a hole for the thread tool to descend into. A great new feature is the new Sheet toolbar. It allows you to maintain your design layers when you are nesting. A previous limitation of Enroute was that it did not differentiate between layers and sheets. When you have this option checked and you run out of material while nesting, it will simply create another sheet, which now has its own respective layers instead of merging all geometries on a single layer. One big advantage of this will be that you are still able to prioritize the layer order Users that are running labels via the automated tool pathing module will now be able to add the layer name as a placeholder on their label. By looking at the label, the operator can then know to which CNC file the label belongs. Users now have the ability to generate a PDF report along with their machining file. It will show a plate preview, list the tools used in the file, provide the summarized cut statistics, as well as generate a barcode for devices with hand scanners to be able to pull the machining file from a hot folder. In the automated tool pathing module, you can now directly go into the driver selection and setup menu via the Output tab. As an output option in Enroute, you now have the ability to create an output file for each tool that is apparent in the job. It's a simple checkbox in the output menu that will make it so that the tool name is appended to your chosen output file name. This option will make it a lot easier for people to create output files for machines that do not have an automated tool changer. Users now have the ability to set a hot folder for Enroute to send DXF files to. When initially using this functionality, you will be asked to set a hot folder. Of course, you also have the ability to set your preferred DXF export options. You can always go back into the preferences to change the hot folder's location. Users can now control the speed of the simulations by using a slider instead of exclusively by pushing the arrow keys.